With the NFL season over, I had a feeling we would be making another Arch Manning video soon after. And with perfect timing, we have some big news coming from a Heisman voter, saying that Arch has shortened his list to just 2 remaining schools. If you've been following along on this channel, you know we had Arch's Big Six going for a while. We eliminated schools like Tennessee, Duke, North Carolina, and Ohio State, although they did try to resurrect things recently with Arch. But after all those other guys were out, we were left with Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, LSU, Texas, and Ole Miss. We've discussed why each of those schools has a connection with Arch and how they could make a play for the #1 ranked quarterback in the 2023 class. Eventually, LSU was pretty much ruled out, and I don't think Brian Kelly's southern accent did anything to convince Arch. Although 24/7 Sports says LSU is still in play. Not sure if I'm buying it, but it's worth bringing up. More recently, we had numerous reports of Clemson being the next to go. That's where things stood for a while. It seemed Arch's Big Four was going to be the talking point for the next several months. Georgia did everything it could to convince Arch on the field with a national championship. On top of that, you had fans painting Arch's name on their bodies, just begging for his commitment. I mean, if they won with a walk-on and Stetson Bennett, what could they do with Arch freaking Manning? Obviously, they won't have a defense like that again, but the Bulldogs showed Arch that they could get over the Alabama roadblock. And Ole Miss has the obvious family history as well as a strong relationship between Lane Kiffin and Arch. Apparently, Florida is even making a late push, but Arch hasn't even visited there yet, so I'm good with ruling them out until that happens. This week, though, Heisman voter Brent Beard joined ESPN's Upstate radio program and said he thinks it's down to Texas and Alabama. So we're gonna run with this hypothetical, but I gotta first mention that things are probably still changing with Arch, and Cooper Manning has backed that up with what he recently told 24/7 Sports. At one point I made a video talking about why I thought Texas was the favorite for Arch's commitment. I know I've also spoken at length about Ole Miss being a deserving favorite as well, but the main things I was saying in that video on Texas were the signs that Arch's high school coach Nelson Stewart, what he was giving us. He called Steve Sarkisian a genius and managed to bring up Texas during an interview about Georgia. On top of that, we've mentioned the relationship between David Cutcliffe and the Manning family before, and now Cutcliffe is reportedly close to joining the Texas staff. As you probably already know, he has previously coached both Peyton and Eli Manning. Beard said Arch has a lot to do with Cutcliffe joining Texas. Now we also have to talk about another much-hyped 5-star quarterback in Quinn Ewers. How does he fit into the equation with Arch? Or I guess we should say if Arch were to commit to Texas, how does he fit in with Ewers already there? So this upcoming season, Arch will be a senior in high school, while Ewers will be a redshirt freshman. That would mean in 2023, Arch would redshirt while Ewers plays himself into a likely draft selection as he completes his 3rd year of eligibility. That would leave the door wide open for Arch as a redshirt freshman in 2024 to compete for the starting job. An absolute dream scenario for Texas fans. And for Arch, Ewers' star power would take a lot of pressure off him, especially if Ewers is competing for a Heisman in a couple of years. That gives Arch time to learn and develop behind him, alongside his family's old quarterback coach, helping him morph into a future NFL starter like he once did for Arch's uncles. Always worth mentioning that both Peyton and Eli were #1 picks after Cutcliffe was done with them. And I'd say it's very likely that Arch has grown up hearing stories about how great of a coach Cutcliffe was for his uncles. I know some Texas fans don't want to get their hopes up, but it seems they are in prime position to land the most talked about recruit we've ever seen. Sarkisian has seemingly done a better job at crafting a relationship with Arch than just about every head coach outside maybe Lane Kiffin as well. But with all that being said, is there anything that should scare Texas fans more than Nick Saban pulling Arch to the other side? Arch has said he wants to compete for a national championship, and there's no better place to do it than under Saban. As Texas struggles to get above 500, Alabama gives a near guaranteed playoff berth every single year. No matter the offensive coordinator, Bama has proven it can develop Heisman contending first-round pick quarterbacks in recent years. A guaranteed top 5 O-line in the country, along with a top-tier running game and most likely weapons galore at wide receiver. It's really any quarterback's dream. Maybe the biggest hope for Alabama fans is for Texas to continue to shoot itself in the foot. If they struggle with an uber talent like Ewers at quarterback, then all the relationship building and catering to Arch may end up falling by the wayside. Problem is, that timeline probably isn't going to line up with Arch's commitment, as he's previously said he wants to commit by this spring or summer. And I don't see Arch being the wishy-washy type to pull the old switcheroo and hop schools. He seems to be really thinking this through, while you typically see that stuff with recruits who jump the gun and commit too early for their own good. Still, if Arch wants to play right away, he'd have a better shot at Alabama. Once Bryce Young leaves for the NFL, things would be more open there than with Ewers at Texas. But honestly, I think Arch is perfectly fine with sitting for a year like most college players do. I don't think there's anything mentally holding him back. I mean, he probably has the knowledge base of like an NFL rookie with all the mentoring he's got. The main thing would be the speed and physicality adjustments of the college game, and in that case, a redshirt year would do him some real good. Even still, Saban has said that in the past several years or so, that high school offenses have gotten complex enough that it's enabled more quarterbacks to make the transition faster. Let's not forget he once opted to rely on true freshman Tua Tagovailoa with a national championship on the line. So if Arch wants that, then I guess that could factor in. Anyway, I think the NIL deals at both schools, or really any of the Big Four, would be through the roof for Arch. I mean, he's been projected by numerous analysts to become a quick millionaire once he reaches college. I know Texas boosters can hit harder than Alabama, but that being said, his family obviously has plenty of money already, so that wouldn't be as high of a priority as it would be with your average recruit. It's also worth noting that On3, who has quickly proven itself as a big player in the recruiting industry, has Georgia still as the favorite with a 36%. Then has Beard's Alabama and Texas up next, with Ole Miss fourth. So if I'm a Georgia or Ole Miss fan, I haven't given up hope yet. Lane Kiffin has done a special job with his recruitment of Arch, just like Sarkisian, and Arch was already speaking very highly of Georgia before they won the championship. He's been to these schools twice already and could very well visit for a third time once the basketball season winds down. So things will remain fluid until the spring, but obviously this report has to feel pretty good for Texas and Alabama fans. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe for more updates just like this, and let me know which school you guys think Arch is going to commit to.